Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm here with my husband Matt today to film a video that you guys have requested many times that we, for some reason, have never gotten around to filming, which is just a whole video on marriage after having a baby, marriage with a toddler. We did one of these when Rowan was like a couple months old about like marriage postpartum, but now we're in the thick of it.
Maybe I should go back and rewatch that for hints on what I should be saying.
Hints?
Yeah.
There's not a right answer. So I asked you guys some questions over on the community tab and we're gonna go through them. And yeah. Do you guys have disagreements when it comes to Rowan's general care? Like how to do it, what approaches to take?
Yeah. You always have to remind me to brush his teeth in the morning, which I forgot to do this morning. I'm now realizing. I did it yesterday.
You said you did it this morning. No, that was yesterday. That's not like
he doesn't need
saying we shouldn't brush his teeth.
Yeah. There's probably like, I wouldn't say there's one big, like, fundamental thing we disagree on. Spanking was an interesting conversation because I grew up being spanked and I grew up thinking, well, I'm probably going to spank my kids too. And the culture around that is very different than it was 30 years ago. So we don't do that.
Yeah, that was something I really didn't want to do. And I don't think you necessarily were like, yes, I want to spank our children, but you had just like, you know.
That was normal for me. So.
Grew up in the 90s and things were different then. And so we had to have a conversation of like, I don't think we should do this. And you were like, oh, really? Why? And I explained it.
Okay. Yeah. I was like, okay.
I think the disagreements that we get into are more of like the little disagreements over micromanaging the other person's, like how we're doing something, like how we're cleaning him up, or like we'll bicker because we want to get the same thing done two different ways. It's kind of the same thing with like house projects.
Yeah.
Or like what order to do things in.
I feel like we haven't had one of those in a while.
No, I feel like we're in a pretty good groove right now.
Yeah, we're in a good routine.
Is there anything that something that we haven't like come to a conclusion on yet because it's not terribly relevant is Matt prefers private school and I prefer public school. So that will be something that we'll have to figure out when the time gets closer.
I don't necessarily prefer it, but again, like that's what I went to. So I have that predisposition towards like public school being bad or unsafe.
And I went to public school in Orange County, which was like very
different.
Yeah,
but you hated it.
Okay, I hated some of the social stuff, not... Like, I got an amazing education. I learned more in high school than I did in college, for sure, because my school was fantastic as far as that stuff goes. But yeah, that's something we'll have to talk about as we get closer. Well, I think we're pretty chill, though, with that kind of stuff. Like, if it really matters to the other person, we usually are pretty amenable to changing up.
Yeah, I can't think of anything where one of us has our heels dug in and it's like, this is the hill I'm going to die on.
Yeah.
So, that's good.
I think it'd be bad if we did. You've mentioned how you feel about more babies, but what is his perspective on it?
How do you feel about more babies? How do you feel today? We've been going back and forth.
Yeah.
I think you're solidifying in one direction.
Today I feel like no.
But
more often than not recently I felt like yes. So it literally changes day to day, which I take as a sign that I'm just not ready.
It's almost an hourly pendulum. It depends how long Rowan's been asleep.
What do you, I mean, I feel like we're pretty much on the same page as far as like, I don't know, you talk about your experience.
I'm definitely leaning more no still.
Really?
I'm like 70, 75 no.
Do you want to talk a little bit about, because we both said we wanted multiple kids before having Rowan.
Yeah.
Like what changed for you?
Are you sure you want, it's kind of a long-winded explanation.
Go ahead.
All right. I mean, if those of you who have seen the birth vlog saw how like emotional I was at Rowan's birth. That intensive emotion that I went through for that and like the love and the feeling that I have for him right now, I can't imagine having the capacity to feel that way towards a second baby. And I'm sure it would happen. Like
yeah.
Everyone says, you know, oh no, you think there's no more room in your heart for love, and then this happens. And I thought that about you. You know, I loved you so much. It's like, how can I love this complete stranger? You know, when he was a newborn, we brought a stranger into our house. How can I love him as much as I love you? And clearly, it's that ship has long sailed because I just adore him now. I think I'm afraid that like he wouldn't like be my special, like my everything, like all my attention when I'm not focused on you is focused on him. And so it's just like I feel like I would be doing him a disservice to be splitting that love and attention and time with another child.
I think that's a really common thing to feel. I've heard that from a lot of people. And everybody says, your heart just grows.
Yeah.
So there you have it.
That's where I'm at.
There's Matt's take. Keep you guys updated, obviously.
Like, it literally changes week to week.
Yeah.
You held a 2-month-old the other day, though.
I did.
That's what I said. I feel like if I were to hold a newborn, I'd be like, we need to go. Let's go make one.
Yeah, I don't think we're like fully decided one way or another, like by any means. I just like, everybody says when you know, you know. We don't know yet, and so we're just not ready, and that's okay. How do you communicate things out when tired or sleepy? That's not as much of an issue for us. It's hunger.
We're always tired or sleepy. That's the default now.
Do you agree with that?
Yeah, definitely we're the worst at each other when we need to eat something, which I haven't had lunch, and it's 3 p.m. When there's a tweet that I posted years ago before we were even engaged or anything, and we had gotten in this big stupid fight over nothing at Cheesecake Factory, and we're sitting there, and like the waitress is being awkward because she can tell like something's going on or whatever. And then like the bread came and we ate, and I was like sorry. And Megan was like, what the heck happened? And I tweeted, I was like, sometimes I forget to eat and Megan thinks I hate her.
And I think it can be the same when you're tired, like you're extra irritable. So like, how do you?
But at least when I'm tired, I'm just super tired, and I don't want to talk about anything, or I'm super grumpy. I'm good at telling you that I'm grumpy or that I'm irritable.
Yeah.
Are you irritated at me? No, I'm just irritated. But you're taking it out on me. Sorry.
Yeah, when one of us is really tired, well, mostly when you're really tired and you're like not engaging as much, I worry that you're upset with me.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm always asking, are you mad at me? Are you mad at me? And you're like, no, I'm just really tired.
It'll be like the end of a hard work day, and she loves to go for walks. Can we go for a walk? I'm like, fine. And then I just kind of disengage. I don't say anything on the walk. And the whole like point of walks for her is like, that's how she processes. Like, she basically reflects on her entire day and everything on her schedule and projects she's working on. And when I'm not engaged in that, I'm just kind of like, oh yeah. Or sometimes you don't even get that. You don't even get that. I'm just like kind of sulking because I don't want to go on the walk. Those are hard times for you. Because you need that emotional engagement.
And you need space, and that's normal too.
That's the constant
yeah.
thing for us, is the needing quality time and then needing a long time.
So going back to the original question of how we work things out when we're really tired, maybe we could talk about like when he was a newborn, because I feel like maybe that was more of an issue then than it is now.
It was just like, I mean, one of the things like I still do now, like I'll just take him in the morning and let you sleep in for an extra hour or two.
Yeah, we both try to do that for each other. I think you do it more for me than I do for you, which is sweet.
Because I have to be up in the mornings. It's not really fair. Go be on the clock. Yeah, I don't know. Tell each other.
Yeah.
You just, hey, I'm super tired, or I didn't sleep well, and I just need extra help today. Or you're really good about, like, whenever I'm, like, just not functioning or whatever, you're really good about taking care of me. Because you always, whenever I'm, like, super freaking tired and overwhelmed and stressed with work or whatever, you're like, well, what can I do for you right now?
That's my favorite question. How can I help you right now?
Jack and Coke.
I think, yeah, you just have to communicate where you're at, because the other person might not know that you need extra help unless you tell them, like, hey, I slept really badly last night. I'm really tired. Or when he was a newborn, I was always up with him because I was nursing. But now when he gets up in the middle of the night and in the morning, that's the one that goes and gets him.
Sometimes you don't wake up. So I used to be a super heavy sleeper, and then we had Rowan, and I talk about this all the time. That very first day in the hospital, he was in his little bassinet, and we're both like, I was on the couch thing or whatever, and we were just out. We were just out because we're so tired. And he was like, and both of us were just bolt upright immediately. It's crazy how your mind like adjusts to just be up. So I hear him almost immediately when he's crying in the middle of the night. But I miss him so much at night. I get to go see him.
That answer your question? I hope so.
Just be honest. Just don't be afraid to be honest and be like, look, I need help, or I need you to help me. A lot of couples don't want to have those difficult conversations of like the brutal honesty, because like a lot of times for you, you're like, I didn't want to inconvenience you or be a burden. And I'm like, well, my baby too, like I have a lot of responsibility in this, and a lot of partners don't like that. That's not a thing in a lot of partnerships, and that's an important place to be, to have that open communication and acceptance. And there's been a lot of times where you've had to have those difficult conversations with me and just be like, look, here's the situation and here's how it's affecting me. And I'm like, okay, I need to work on that. Usually I get defensive first. But then I come around.
That actually segues well into the next question, which was, can you talk about resentment and like sharing duties?
Duty.
Oh my gosh.
When Rowan was first born, you were doing like 80 or 90% of everything. And looking back on it, like I did a like 16-hour charity stream on my birthday, which is 1 month after Rowan's birthday. And I just
So he was a month old.
And Rowan was a month old, and I abandoned Megan basically completely for 16 plus hours, and like streamed and played video games. And in that time, she took care of our 1 month old completely by herself, and made me a 3-layer like chocolate chip cookie cake. And
From scratch.
I would never do that now without at least making sure she has help. But like at 1 month old, we couldn't even, have relations yet because
I was still bleeding.
You were still healing, and I was just like, babe, I'm gonna do this thing today, and you can hold that one over me for the rest of our lives.
I'm not mad about
I would
it.
never do that now.
I have to take responsibility for some of that too, because like you said, when he was born, I took on everything by myself, and I just treated myself as the default parent. And part of that was because I was nursing. So it was like I had to be with him every 2 or 3 hours, and usually the only way I could get him to sleep in the early months was nursing him. But I just kind of like let it carry into everything. Like I would get up with him in the morning, I would nurse him, I would give him his whole bath in the kitchen sink, get him dressed, do his tummy time, do the whole first wake window, put him back down, and like get back into bed. And like I just would, like I didn't ask for any help ever. And I think maybe I bought into like the gender stereotypes a little bit. Like I just thought I should be able to handle everything myself because I'm his mother.
You still do it.
Do I?
And it's been like within the last couple of weeks, it's been something that I've been trying to be more intentional about, of like doing meals, because I know like meals stress you out, or snacks.
So hard doing the 5 solid, like 3 meals and 2 snacks every day. So burnt out.
So like I've been trying to step up and do that more. Work has finally slowed down enough. There were like a couple of weeks there where I was just like slammed 8 to 5, and I couldn't help.
Yeah, and that's the difference, because he works like a traditional 8 to 5. Granted, he's at home right now because of everything happening. But my job, I do work full time. I do this full time, 40 hours plus a week, but it's much more flexible, and I'm on my own schedule for the most part. I have deadlines and stuff, and I have to answer emails during business hours, but if somebody's schedule needs to adjust for like Rowan refused his nap or, something like that, it usually has to be mine. And I think that can be, like I said this the other day, like sometimes I don't get the support that I need, and it's not your fault at all, but it doesn't change the fact that I'm doing it myself because you're working. So it's like moms that are just stay-at-home moms and have no help at all. Like I do not know how maybe you're not working full-time. I don't know. Everybody's situation is different, but I mean, that was a conversation we had to have when he was probably 6 months old. I had to be like, I can't do it all by myself anymore. And like, it wasn't through you being like not wanting to do stuff. I had just taken on everything myself and not considered another alternative. Whereas I think now it's much more, if you're not working, it's 50-50, I would say. Sometimes when you're working, I have to take on a little more, or a lot more.
And the weekends are nice too, because then I don't, like, you can catch up, or I don't have like something, that tug in the back of my mind constantly tugging me back to the laptop, or my watch buzzing off because an email comes in or whatever. It's super distracting. Or sometimes like if I have a Zoom or whatever, I have a ton of Zoom meetings all the time, which like I can't move those because it involves a bunch of other people. But sometimes I'll just bring Rowan with me. You can be on this call, you go, powder your nose or whatever. It's just like, come here, and Rowan waves, and he's super friendly with everyone, and they love seeing him because they've been seeing him since he was a newborn. I don't know. I don't remember what we were talking about.
Resentment. I think it can be really easy to get resentful of your partner, even if you know they're working hard in another capacity. Like I've seen a few of my friends express similar stuff where it's like if their husband goes to work and then they're home all day with the baby, like you can get kind of like, I've been taking care of this child all day, when like, like they're still working. I think you just have to look at the things that your partner is doing for you and be appreciative of those, even if they look different than your daily tasks, and also communicate and make sure like you are both doing stuff.
And if you're the one who, does work the 9 to 5 or the 8 to 5 and is gone all day, and you come home, I come home mentally or whatever, or there are some days where I'm gone for like 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah.
And I come home and 5 o'clock hits and I'm wiped out and I don't want to do anything, let alone like run around the house after a 15-month-old. But like, you've also been working and handling him at the same time. So it's like, yeah, you're tired, but you have a family and other things need you. Like, can't be the biggest priority in your life. You have stuff to take care of yourself, sure, but so for me, I'm tired, she's super tired, Rowan needs to be entertained, and it needs to be a team effort. It's like, well, I'm just too tired. No, so is your partner. So step up.
I think you have to say goodbye to your free time during the workday too. Like, if you have like a lunch break or something, or like for me, normally I would have had pockets of time where I could just like, do whatever. And now it's like I intentionally got rid of those essentially, because if I have free time during the day, I need to be watching Rowan so that he can work, and like he does the same for me. And then we kind of group all of our me time at the end of the night, because there's nothing more frustrating than like when you're trying to work and like the kiddos, you're with them too, or you need help with them, and then like one of the other person is on their phone. It's like, if you have time to be on your phone, like I'm scrolling Instagram or you're playing a mobile game or whatever, it's like, then take the kid, I'm trying to work. That's something we've had to work through.
It's like you try to find, those little, I just knocked out all those emails. Yeah, I'm gonna play some Battle Legion or whatever. And Megan's like immediately there. Do you have free time? Are you working right now? That's what you always say. Are you working right now? Like from the other room, and I'm like, yes. And I put my phone down and I go back to the email. I'll be in the middle of an email and I'll stop and just be like, phone.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a good way to put it. You kind of lose those little breaks.
Yeah.
Because you need to take a little break to give your partner a little break.
Yeah. And that's like mostly, if both of you are working, maybe it's different if one person works and the other person is working full time taking care of the baby, but we both work like our jobs full time, and then we're also full time parents. So. We've
gotten good at taking advantage of nighttime, bedtime to do our own things.
Yeah.
And that was one of my buddies told me early in our pregnancy, was like, you either sleep or you play video games. And for a while I was like, yep, all right, 10 o'clock she'd be in bed, I'd be up until midnight or 1 a.m. because that was my time. That was my me time. Yeah. Like, you can't have all of it, And
you need less sleep than I do.
Yeah, isn't that weird?
Yeah, like just our bodies naturally, like he needs slightly less than 8 hours of sleep and I need slightly more, just to like.
That's why we do the swap in the mornings thing.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, oh, well.
Okay, next question. What would you say has been the biggest way your marriage has changed?
Date night is a lot more fun now.
Yeah, date night is really special. We don't take it for granted.
We were just talking the other day about how much we used to go out to eat. And part of that is, is a panty. But when we lived in Orange County, and even a little bit in Seattle before Rowan was born, it's just like, what do you want to do for night? I don't know, what do you want to do? Let's go to Flame Broiler or something. We would just go out, and like that was part of our routine. And now it's, hey, Nana and Pops, can you guys come over and stay with Rowan so we can go have date night, which we just did on Friday. And
we'll sit down at a real restaurant.
So nice.
So much fun.
And like you don't take those moments for granted anymore.
We don't have as much time together, and I that's the flip side of like the biggest way our marriage has changed, is we don't have as much.
Which is funny because we're together all day almost, but we're together as Rowan's mom and dad. We're not together as Megan's husband and Matt's wife.
Yeah,
I feel like.
Yeah, we have less one-on-one time together as a couple.
Because when he goes to nap during the day, we're filming a YouTube video, or she's filming, or like. We're doing emails.
Frantically working.
Because when you get that sweet 45 minutes, an hour and a half of just time, like.
To focus.
Like grindstone, man. Like go.
Yeah.
Do the reports and stuff. So that's one aspect.
How has introducing children changed the way you think about marriage, or has it? I feel more like a family unit now. Not that two married people are not a family, because absolutely are. But like I like playing mom and dad. If that makes sense. Like, yeah. I feel more like your wife.
That's a good way to put it.
Like making the Easter basket, or like planning for us all to go to the pumpkin patch. Like, we get to do these little family activities. I don't know, there's something so special about watching your partner grow into that new role, and I love watching you with him.
No, it's different. It's like it's that like 2.5 kids, white picket fence, like American dream, whatever, like trope, but it's yours, and your white picket fence looks completely different, or it's something else. And like, yeah, you bring up Easter, and it was like she got it all ready. She got early. She got all these basket stuff ready, and then she was like, okay. And then I brought Rowan down, and she was just like beaming, like standing there next to this display of baskets and stuff, and like that's super cute. Well, like I hid Easter eggs around the apartment our first year in Seattle, and like that was cute, and I filmed her going around and like finding Easter eggs around the apartment, and that was cute and fun. But like when it's with your baby that you invested so much time and money and energy into, it's different. It's special.
I think it gives you more of an excuse too to like make an occasion out of things, because like especially for holidays, like of course we want to celebrate them all with him and for those to be our family traditions and to be a part of his life, whereas if it was just the two of us, like I don't think we would, we've always been big holiday people, so we probably would still go to the pumpkin patch, but like it wouldn't be as big of a deal, you know?
It's watching him experience things for the first time, and that wonder, and just being so happy for him, and he's so nice.
I guess that's more like how our opinions have changed on like family versus marriage, but yeah, that's kind of the gist of it, I think.
I think it goes back to what we talked about earlier of like stepping up. And I told Megan, like when we met, like I was really working on not being a selfish person almost 8 years ago. And like I've come a long way on that, but it's still hard. It's an active, constant effort to be more selfless and to put others before you, especially when you have a baby. It makes it even more crucial that you put your partner before you, because they're just as exhausted as you are. So I think that having a baby really emphasizes the need for a strong marital bond and connection and partnership and teamwork.
Yeah.
Because like, oh yeah, it's like you and me, like, haha, here we go, like us against the world, let's go. Yeah, we're moving to Seattle, woo. But now it's just like we have to be like on it at all times, you know, because he's pulling something out that he's not supposed to play with, or he's eating dirt or whatever, you know. So you gotta be on the same page, same wavelength.
I also think it necessitates more compassion. Like when your partner is having a hard day, or didn't get a lot of sleep, or didn't step up to do the chore that like you asked them to do, like you have to be a lot more compassionate and not keep score, for sure, has been a big thing. Like with becoming a team.
We do that with dirty diapers though. I've changed 2 today. Like literally an hour ago I did that. I was like, I've changed 2 today, here.
And I went, okay.
Okay.
That was my second too, so.
We've been doing good about that, going, that's fair.
Yeah.
Just conceding, because we're so hard-headed.
Yeah, we're both really stubborn.
But sometimes we're like, that's fair. But yeah, don't. Like, well, I did the dishes 4 times.
Okay, my camera just turned off because it's overheating because we've been sitting here talking for so long, so I'm gonna pick one more. A lot of these we've answered just like as we've been answering other things, like how do you keep your priorities with each other while also prioritizing Rowan? How has parenthood strengthened your marriage? I feel like we've touched on that stuff. Oh, here's one. What do you miss about yourselves before becoming parents? Not about your life, about yourselves.
What do I miss about myself? Oh, dude, that's easy. Spontaneous things for you. Because now like I'm rushing home, like when I'm out like working and stuff, like I have to, like I'm trying to get home as fast as I can, because I would go out and I would like putter, like, hey, I'm, you know, on my way back from this, like why don't I stop and like bring you some lunch or whatever, and like I can't do stuff like that as much, because sometimes I would just go to the store and do whatever, and I would bring you a treat or something. I can't really do that anymore because one of us always has to be here. Like, we need help. We always need help with him or whatever. So I miss that little spontaneity.
That's so sweet. I miss being less stressed. I think I'm a lot more high strung now because I constantly feel I'm worried about him and like all the stuff to do with doing this right, what does he need right now, and then I'm also feeling the time pressure of like trying to find time to work, and then also, you know, we've been parenting during the thing that we're all in right now that has made going out with him really hard. So I miss when I was just a little bit more carefree. Not that I've been really carefree ever.
No, it's
but
like
more.
you talked about earlier, the internal clock, the internal timer, the nap timer. Oh, when time to go down. What time is he getting up? He's at an hour right now, I think. No, he's at 45 minutes, so he's going to be up anyway.
See, we're doing it right now.
So it's just like constantly.
Hey, future Matt and Megan here. I just finished filming and then realized that I never touched on kind of an important topic, which is intimacy. We had a couple of questions about this that came in like literally right after we stopped filming. How has your intimacy changed since becoming parents? Any struggles you're willing to share? Somebody else says, sex life after a baby. I find it's hard for me to get sensual now because my son's around. And I thought it was important to talk about it. So I turned the camera back on and we're upstairs now because my father-in-law is downstairs because he's gonna watch Rowan in a little bit. And I didn't want to talk about it in front of anybody except, you know, the 35,000 people on the internet.
So I laughed, and I'm not laughing at you because you find it hard to be sensual when your son's around. I laughed because she says the same exact thing, and I don't get it. I'm like, whatever, like, he doesn't know, you know, whatever. But like, we'll be like in the kitchen, he'll be like running around, and like, you know, sometimes you kiss just right, and it's just like, oh. And like, I'll start like getting a little handsy or whatever, and she's like, no, and Rose's just like, Dad. She's just like, she won't do it. And I'm just, you know, I'm like, I lose focus of everything else, and then there's only one thing I can think about. Funny that someone else said the exact same thing. I was just like, oh.
Yeah, you're not alone. I totally feel that way too. If he's in the room, like, that's all you get.
I do not have that problem.
I think we were lucky in that like early postpartum. I know a lot of women are like, I don't want to do anything down there at all. And I didn't feel like that. So I feel like we went back to normal pretty quickly. Obviously you have to like ease back into it. But I'd say the biggest change now is because I'm breastfeeding, I don't want anything going on in this area. It just feels too much like breastfeeding and it gives me weird vibes. So like...
That's changing slowly.
He's banned from this area right now.
Not completely. A lot of those restrictions have been lifted lately.
Yeah, as I'm weaning Rowan. But for a while, it's just like, I just don't want, you know, like you like milk will squirt out. Like if...
Never bothered me once. Just meant everything is going well.
It's that oxytocin thing.
Flip side of that, it was never weird for me at all. Like I watched Rowan fully crown and come out and be born, and I watched all of the changes down there as she was really pushing, and like it changed nothing for me. Like there's never been a single moment of your entire pregnancy that I was
even when I was like giant.
Yeah.
I remember there was like one time when I was like 7 or 8 months where you were like, he's in there, I feel weird.
Yeah, it's like,
and then you got over it.
It's kind of weird. Yeah, I had a moment. I was just like, you know, and then instinct takes over.
So yeah, that's all I had to say about that. Did you have anything else to add? I just thought it was important we talk about that. Now back to the actual last question. What's one thing that you like more? This isn't a question, but I think we should end on a positive note. What's one thing you like more about yourself now since becoming a parent?
I'm much more patient, I think, and cuter.
You get cuter every day.
I get cuter. What about you?
I think that I live in gratitude more now than I used to. Like I really slow down and just experience joy more.
Romanticize your life.
Yeah. Okay, well I think we're gonna wrap it up before the camera overheats again, but thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you have more questions, drop them down below because we're both in the comments answering stuff every time a video goes up, so we'll try to get to some of them. But we love you guys and we'll see you again soon.
Bye.
Bye.